Welcome back to day 4 of our pelvic floor challenge. Today we're going to be looking at glute strength and also hamstring strength, which we don't tend to think of when it comes to our pelvic floor. But again, as we've been talking about over these past few days, what your glutes are doing have a huge influence on what's happening with your pelvic floor. So we're going to be doing something called an arabesque. It is also a yoga pose. I am not yoga savvy, but we're going to be fine-tuning it. So I'm going to have you stand on both legs and check in that your ribs are relaxed down, which will feel slumpy, okay? We're used to thinking that this is good posture, but this is actually a misalignment of the ribs in relation to the pelvis. And when this becomes our default habit, it creates problems with the abdominal pressure, which can create problems with the pelvic floor. So, relaxing the ribs down is something we really want to start incorporating throughout our day. Now I'm going to have you shift your weight to your right leg. So like we did with the pelvic list way back when. And then from here, I'm going to have you hinge forward at your hip, bringing the back leg up behind you. You can do this against a wall or a chair. And I'm going to have you back your pelvis up so it's a little bit behind your heel. And just notice, with both legs straight, what's it like to stand on one leg? Watch that you're not dropping your torso down while your leg stays down. So we'll come back to a standing position and we'll switch to the other side. So shifting your weight to your left leg now, we're going to hinge at the hip, and as we hinge, the leg comes up and the torso moves down. And then we back the pelvis up behind the heel, which is going to engage the glutes a little bit more. So this is the leg that's really doing the work to stabilize you. And we'll come up. Now this time around, I want you to check in with your pelvis and notice, are you twisting it? And if you are, can you keep both sides of your pelvis pointing straight down to the floor? So we don't want to twist. So we're going to come back to the right leg. And just check before you even get started, when you're just standing on your right leg, have you twisted? And if you are, correct that. And then hinge forward, backing the pelvis up. And then from here, check to see what's happening with your pelvis. Did you hike that left side up? And if so, can you rotate it down? And again, we're not just dropping the torso down, we're keeping that back leg lifted up and coming up nice and controlled. Switching to your left leg now. Taking the leg back behind to hinge at the hips. And then check in with the left and right sides of your pelvis. Are you twisting? And if so, can you drop that right side down so that they're both evenly pointing down towards the floor? And then slowly come up. So as you may notice, that is quite the glute and hamstring exercise for stabilizing. It's a relatively simple exercise, but it's one that you are asking those muscles to really work in order to keep yourself upright. And when we add in that piece of not twisting the pelvis, that changes things quite a bit. The other piece you can add on eventually is the kneecap piece. So I'm going to show you. Most of us stand with our kneecaps elevated. So you can check this on yourself and just notice, can you lift and lower your kneecaps? And what's happening, to be able to lift and lower your kneecaps, you need to be able to contract your quads to elevate the kneecaps, and you need to be able to relax your quads enough that your kneecaps can lower down. Often, we are in a state of quad permaclench in that our kneecaps are always elevated and up to our eyeballs, metaphorically speaking. And this is just an area of tension that we hold all of the time. So we want to start practicing letting that go enough that the kneecaps can relax down. So this is kind of one of the ways we evaluate tension in the quads is how much are we always holding our kneecaps up? Can we stand upright and relax the kneecaps down? If you're struggling with this, one of my favorite ways to practice is by doing this seated at the edge of a chair with your legs out in front of you. And you can give your quads a little jostle to help loosen them up a bit, help enhance the brain-body connection. And then from there, see, can you lift and lower voluntarily your kneecaps? Part of this is just a body-brain connection. Not just, because that can be a lot of work. But it's not so much of a muscle action that needs to happen as it is reestablishing the quads on the map of the brain so that we can voluntarily contract and relax them. Once you have gotten that easily, then you can come up to the wall and stand with your feet out from the wall and your pelvis backed up against the wall and kind of hinge forward a little bit and see if you can lift and lower now that you have some weight on your feet. From there, you can walk it in a little bit. Can you lift and lower? If not, just hang out in the position that's a little challenging until you get it. And eventually, you'll be able to stand in a fully upright position and lift and lower your kneecaps. And eventually, you'll be able to do your hinge and lift and lower your kneecap, which means you don't have a death grip on your quads as you do this exercise. Okay? That is most likely down the road, so please do not get discouraged if you find there is no way you can lift and lower your kneecap when doing that particular exercise, or even while standing upright yet. All right? It will come and just take some practice and patience. So be kind to yourself. Have fun doing the arabesque exercise, whether or not you can lift and lower your kneecap, and enjoy reaping the glute and hamstring strengthening benefits from this, which is going to have another beautiful impact on your pelvic floor function. I will see you tomorrow.